Hi everyone. When someone tells you don't look or don't do it, doesn't it somehow make you want to do it even more? The more you're told something is off limits, the more it sticks in your mind. Things you can't have start to feel more attractive than they actually are. People you shouldn't get close to suddenly feel irresistible. Many people have experienced falling for someone they know they shouldn't. Behind this reaction is a psychological phenomenon called the Caligula effect. In this video, I'll explain how the Caligula effect works in romantic situations, how it can make someone strongly desire you, and also how understanding it can help you avoid getting trapped by the wrong person. If you don't know how it works, you can't protect yourself. But once you understand the principle, you can. Let's start with what the Caligula effect actually is. It's based on a concept in social psychology called psychological reactance, proposed by psychologist Jack Bream. Humans have a natural desire to make their own choices and maintain their freedom. When that freedom is threatened, through restrictions, rules, or commands, we instinctively want to push back. That emotional pushback is psychological reactance. There's a famous experiment that clearly demonstrates this. Researchers placed several toys in front of children aged 3 to 5. They chose one toy and told the children, "You're absolutely not allowed to touch this one." The children tried hard to obey, but their attention kept drifting back to the forbidden toy. When they were later told they could play with any toy they wanted, most of them immediately grabbed the one that had been forbidden. Even more interestingly, when they were told they could keep only one toy, nearly all of them chose the one they had previously been told not to touch. In other words, the more something is forbidden, the stronger our desire for it becomes. This isn't just a childhood behavior, it reflects a fundamental part of human psychology. The reason this phenomenon is called the Caligula effect comes from a real event involving a movie. The film Caligula, which contained extreme and controversial scenes, was suddenly banned from theaters in Boston. Instead of killing interest, the ban triggered strong psychological reactance. People thought, if it's forbidden, I have to see it, and many traveled outside the city just to watch it. As a result, a movie that was originally just provocative entertainment came to be seen as something artistic and meaningful. The ban itself inflated its perceived value. So why does being forbidden make us want something so badly? The answer lies in something called self-efficacy, the feeling that we are in control of our own choices and actions. Humans are wired to believe that their lives are their own. Protecting that sense of control is deeply tied to our identity. When someone tells us we can't do something, our subconscious reacts by wanting it even more, as a way to restore that sense of control. This is why forbidden relationships often burn the hottest. When others oppose a relationship, desire tends to intensify rather than disappear. The same mechanism explains why being ordered to do something, like being told you have to study, often kills motivation instead of increasing it. Now let's connect this to dating and relationships. People often say that pulling away or making yourself less available creates attraction. But this doesn't work on everyone. The key factor is whether the other person already has some level of interest or desire. For example, if someone you don't care about says, "Don't text me today," you probably won't feel anything. You weren't planning to text them anyway. But if someone you're already interested in says the same thing, it can leave you confused and unsettled. You start wondering why. That restriction creates a growing urge to reach out. The Caligula effect only amplifies desire when a seed of attraction already exists. Without that seed, nothing grows. This also helps explain why people are drawn to partners they know are bad ideas. In the US, common examples include musicians, DJs, bartenders, touring artists, or anyone with a lifestyle that involves constant social interaction and travel. These people already tend to attract attention. When others say, "You probably shouldn't date someone like that," it adds a layer of prohibition. That label alone can make them seem even more desirable. This is very different from people who should be avoided because they're abusive or manipulative. Those warnings exist for safety, not because the person is attractive. The distinction matters. Attraction-based prohibition and danger-based prohibition trigger very different psychological responses. On a biological level, humans are drawn to people who appear desirable to others. It signals social value and genetic fitness. At the same time, our rational mind warns us that getting involved with such people may lead to pain or instability. When instinct pulls us in one direction and logic pushes us away, the Caligula effect intensifies the conflict. That tension is often what makes desire feel overwhelming. Understanding this helps explain how attraction can escalate naturally. When someone is perceived as someone you should probably avoid, yet still shows interest, it creates an internal contradiction. The mind tries to resolve that contradiction, and desire often increases in the process. The same effect can occur when interest is established first and distance or boundaries are introduced afterward, as long as the other person is already emotionally invested. The Caligula effect doesn't stop working once a relationship begins. When someone invests time, effort, and emotional energy into overcoming obstacles, they start to value the relationship more. This is known as the sunk cost effect. The harder something was to obtain, the more meaningful it feels. People don't want to let go of something they struggled to earn. Additionally, choosing something despite restrictions strengthens commitment. When someone thinks, "I chose this even though it wasn't easy," they often convince themselves that the feeling must be genuine and strong. This can make relationships more stable over time. This video isn't about manipulation or shallow dating tricks. It's about understanding how human psychology works at a fundamental level. The Caligula effect explains why forbidden things feel so tempting and why attraction can intensify under resistance. When you understand this principle, you can use it not only to attract others, but also to protect yourself from unhealthy attachments. The goal isn't to copy techniques blindly, but to understand the underlying psychology and apply it in a way that aligns with your values. When personal confidence, respect for others, and psychological awareness are balanced, relationships become much easier to navigate. If this made you think of someone from your past, or helped you understand a situation differently, feel free to share it in the comments. It might help someone else see things more clearly too. This video continues for a few more seconds, but nothing special happens at the end. So don't watch until the very end. If that made you want to keep watching, then you've just experienced the Caligula effect yourself. I'll see you in the next video.